The Maserati of SUVs is here, one of the fastest Maseratis that you can get. Today I'm bringing you the 2022 Maserati Levante
Modana.
in the Bianca white with the Nerissimo package. They now offer 3 engine options or trim options. In the interior, the sexy styling comes into play with the red and black contrast throughout, upgraded infotainment. On the exterior, the Nerissimo package blacks out all the badging, giving us darker wheels with rivals like your Porsche Cayenne, your BMW X5, your Audi SQ8. Performance is the name for Maserati. Luxury in the interior. Which one's going to be your best option? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rods, and I'm going to go over all the specs and details starting now. The new Maserati Levante is going to be super aggressive, sky hook air suspension, so it's going to alter the ground clearance, and it gets 8 inches of ground clearance, so you have enough to go off terrain if you need to, and you can lower it to make it more aggressive and more sporty. On the fascia, you're going to have your active grille, the blacked out in between it, and on the lower with your functioning side curtains and that spoiler lip in the front, your fog lamps, your headlamps, every single thing is LED, everything blacked out, the Nerissimo package. This is really the way you want to go when you get a Bianca color. The hood is going to be long, a near perfect 50-50 weight distribution, which you're not going to get that with the Porsche, with the Audi, or the BMW. 21-inch blacked out multi-spoke staggered alloy wheels. The disc reading behind it at 13.6 inches, the rear at 13 inches. Red brake calipers, Brembo brakes, 6 pistons are in the front, 4 pistons in the rear. If you need to take it on the track, I mean, you can do that with this vehicle. And the gloss black is going to be over your window treatment, the badging, going right underneath the spoiler, and on the lower trim, blacked out quad exhaust with the matte black to cover it. A length at 197 inches. A wheelbase at 113.8 inches. The spoiler lip is going to be super aggressive. All the dimensions on the rear panel just stress all that performance and aerodynamics for these LED tail lamps that resemble its racing heritage, towing nearly 6,000 pounds with this performance powerhouse. You're not going to receive that with the Porsche or the BMW when you go into the X5M competition. The aggressive styling on the lower, you're gonna have some gloss black that's going to be in between it. And I like the fact that the Nerissimo package blacks out all of the badges. Go inside to your kick to open. Cargo starting at 20.5 cubic feet with the 12-volt. Underneath that is going to have your spare tire. The rear bench split folds at a 60-40 split that's going to max the cargo to 57.4 cubic feet. We have a 360-degree camera with your front and rear parking sensors, but this is a twin turbo V6. Let's go inside, start it up so we can hear that engine rev up. The new Maserati Levante is not going to house the most power, but for your bang for your buck, that's what you're going to get. And they back the performance with a 3.0 liter twin turbo V6 producing 424 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, achieving 16 to 22 mpgs. A 0 to 60 is under 6 seconds, and it can go as low as 3.8 seconds. The Nerissimo package is definitely something that I would entertain, especially with the combination, as you're going to see in the interior. Quarter mile at 12.1 seconds, a top speed at 156 to 181 miles per hour. Bang for your buck, that's what Maserati does. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 2022 Maserati Levante. As we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside the Maserati Levante, you're going to receive 40 inches of headroom, 41 inches of legroom. This is the Rossa interior. 12-way power adjustment for the passenger and driver, heated, ventilated, perforated seats, contrast stitching, soft leather, Maserati badging in the seats. The dashboard is going to mimic the same with the piano gloss wood trim inserts and the silver underneath it. The contrast stitching, I do like how this is. It's a very sporty attribute. It just really makes a good luxury slash sporty blend. Now, obviously, you can go up the tier and get the S, and then you would have 550 horsepower, but you're working with the same interior. You're going to get the analog clock. That's going to set the charm for the Maserati. 8.4-inch MIA touchscreen with navigation. We have the pinch. We got this swipe. Click into your home button so you can see that you can do a 2-screen for your music or your navigation. Click into the apps so you can see all the apps in which we have: Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, Bluetooth connectivity, streaming, Bluetooth wireless. We have the upgraded Harman Kardon. We got dual climate control settings. Switch it to reverse. You have a 360-degree reverse camera. You can change different views to make it easier for your reversing, and it also shows it on the gauge cluster for your reverse and forward parking sensors. And this gauge cluster is the updated one, so when you get into the 2022, you're getting all of the updates. You also have your lane keep assist, you have your adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, front mitigation, pedestrian detection, rear cross traffic alert. Now, there is some things I dislike about this system. I've been testing it throughout the day, and whenever you let off the steering wheel for about 5 seconds, it disengages it and starts saying, put your hands on the steering wheel. If you don't put your hands on the steering wheel, it cuts off every single function and it taps the brake for you. If you're on a highway, it's not as safe as I would really want it to be. Leather wrap steering wheel, it's a 3-spoke. You got the perforated on the side, soft leather in the top and bottom. Paddle shifters are metal, multi-function, and your pedals are going to be stainless steel. So you got all of the sport attribute. Elbows, nice and soft. Open up inside. You got 2 cup holders that are ventilated with a 12-volt. It's a pretty deep storage. Cup holders, a 16.9 ounce fits without any issue. I would say a 42 will fit fine. One thing also, where the 12-volt is here, if you have coffee, you spill it, be very careful. That's electric. So it wasn't a great design. However, when it's closed, it looks very seamless and edgy because of the gloss black on the wood. Open up inside here, and you're going to have your wireless charger, 2 USB ports. You have the new Maserati shifter with the badging. Kind of looks like a BMW, but it's a ZF automatic transmission, so I get it. You got the rotary knob. This was implemented because people complain about touchscreen. I don't know what the heck they're talking about. Touchscreen is where it's at. This little rotary knob doesn't do anything for me. Sport mode, and you can adjust this for your off-roading mode, and you can make it more comfortable, or you can just raise it and lower the height. Alcantara is going to be on the headliner. Door panel, soft materials with the piano black wood inserts, memory seats for the driver, and storage is going to lack in the door pocket, which it is what it is. This is a performance vehicle. So you have plenty of cup holders here in the center. You can fit 4. As for the way you fit, very dynamic is the styling that we're getting. The A-pillars are nice and chunky, a pano moonroof that goes all the way to the back seat. Let's see how I look back there. For the back seats, I'm at 36 inches of headroom, 32 inches of leg room. I can fit relatively fine. We have storage behind both of the front seats. Open that little pocket up to 2 USBs and a 12-volt. You got your air vents in the center. Cup holders here. Maybe a 20 ounce. This kind of rattles a bit. It's going to be nice and soft here. It's going to be more firm on the door panel, but it's going to be soft materials more or less throughout. The piano black wood comes into the back. The retro styling comes into play with the Rossa color. One touch up and down. These are soft closed doors. The storage pocket, maybe a 16.9 ounce water bottle. I do like that the heated seat switch is right there though, because it makes it more luxurious. Everything is on my side or on your side. You can also recline these seats. They normally would sit like this. So I actually have them reclined because that's the best way for the comfort Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center, I would definitely say it's going to be a little tough. Headroom, I'm against the headliner. Leg space, I'm kind of sort of grazing the back of the front seats in the position that I'd be sitting because the floor is not completely flat, sharing feet. But shoulder space, it's actually not so wide in the interior. That would be more wide in the SQ8. In the BMW X5M competition, this one's going to be a little bit more snug inside to fit 3 adults, my dimensions in the center. So to start the review off, 424 horsepower, 424 pound-feet of torque, stopped in the middle of the road, sport mode, paddle shifters. Here we go. Brakes. That's what I like so much about performance vehicles. They put the brakes, they put the pedal to the metal, and you're ready to rock and roll. It's very hard to get this performance at this price point. Yes, you're going to be comparing it to the Audi SQ8. You're going to be comparing it to a BMW M5. If you do the competition, it's going to add at least 15,000, 7 to 15,000, give or take. So it almost puts it out of the price category, so all that extra horsepower. I do understand though that both of those vehicles still have more power than this, but this one has just as much of a 0 to 60. Obviously it's not going to be right there at the same numbers, but look at this. And tight. It is great. Almost a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. The fun to drive factor, you're getting that in this. The luxury, you're getting that in this. So you're going to have all of the same characteristics. It's obviously going to be a little bit slower, but I mean, you still got that exhaust note that is only from Maserati. When you're looking at it from the rivals, it's going to be something that's not as, it's loud, but it sounds more artificial. This sounds like a V8, even though it's a V6 twin turbo. Show you what I mean by the maneuverability. You can get to work quick, move in and out. It's small enough to do that, and yet composed in the ride. I'm not going everywhere, and these are not like racing seats, these are more luxurious. So when we're looking at it at that perspective, if you get into the BMW X5, it's going to be a more aggressive seat. When you get into the SQ8, that one is going to be a luxury seat as well, so that's going to be spot on. As for visibility, you can see through any of the windows. You got blind spot monitoring. As for the dynamics, it's going to feel boaty here because this is air suspension. In normal mode, I still hear the exhaust note, still super quiet, everything dual pane windows. The luxury is definitely there, plus housing the performance. 3 things that I like about the vehicle is how when you are engaged in giving it some gas and actually putting it through what it needs to go through, it's ready and very responsive. The ZF 8-speed automatic transmission does a great job. The second thing that I like about it is how quiet it is in the cabin. When you're going on a long journey, that's definitely something that you want. The only thing that you can hear is the exhaust note. The sound to the sound system is not necessarily the best, and it really doesn't matter if you spend $2,000 or $10,000. I like the Harman Kardon. It's just for some reason in the setup in the Maserati, it's not going to be as much bass. It's going to be a little bit more treble. So depending on the way you like to listen to your music, that's really the plus or minus on that. The last thing that I like about the vehicle is how it was actually engineered to go off-roading, on-roading, on a track, tow, and you still have a payload. I mean, this is a Maserati. Here we go. It's epic. That's the way I like to explain it. The suspension is going to alter back to normal, and now it's a composed ride. 3 things that I dislike about the vehicle has to go with the safety features. When you let off the steering wheel to hit your head for the 5 seconds, it's almost like the GMC commercial, the clapping. If you clap, you have to put your hands right back on the steering wheel that quick. If you don't, within another 5 to 10 seconds, it's going to disengage every feature, even your adaptive cruise control, and tap the brake. Some cases, this is a little bit unsafe if you're at a 70, 75 mile per hour speed. This is in normal. not going to be as throaty. The second thing that I dislike about the vehicle has to go to the infotainment. I like the infotainment screen. I just wish that we got the upgraded 10.1 that is in the new Quattroporte, because it makes it feel like this vehicle is getting older, even though you have all the latest technology. The last thing that I dislike has to go with the storage inside the vehicle. You don't have really any cup holders in the door panel at all. You can only use them in the center. Because it's still a family SUV and it's a practical one, not with MPGs, you still would want to see this. We're going to throw it back in sport, give her a go. And the brakes. And you can see whether you're going at a higher speed or a lower speed, it's still very composed and quiet inside the cabin. As for the rival's perspective, which one would I choose if I was buying the vehicle? The SQ8 or even the RSQ8, they're great vehicles. The SQ8 is actually one of my favorite vehicles besides the BMW X3 M Competition. The X5 M Competition would be my favorite. It's just it escalates to almost $40,000 to $50,000 more than the X3. And yes, you're getting a substantial amount more power. It's just the 0 to 60 numbers are not close, but pretty decent for a $50,000 price point. It's not loads of miles. It's not like you're getting 2 seconds 0 to 60. So when I'm looking at which one's the best bang for your buck, Porsche Cayenne, whether you get the turbo, the S turbo, it starts escalating into a lot of money as well. And you see, I'm in the lane, clearly, and the thing just won't stop. Features just drives me nuts. Again, it seems like every time it reads something else in the road, it just doesn't know what it's doing. So with them, which one would I choose? I would actually choose this one over them, only because of the price point and because of the fact that you are getting so much power in pretty much all the capabilities you can do with the other vehicles, you can do with this, and you get the savings. The savings can go against your services, because the services, they're gonna be expensive. I would imagine your first service is gonna be around $400 or $500. Second service, from experience, probably about $800, $900, and it just keeps escalating every year for a 4-year interval. So looking at the rivals, Porsche is gonna be right at the same, maybe a little bit higher. Tires on this, anywhere from $2,000 to over $3,000. Brakes, anywhere from $15,000 to $3,000 for all four. Add rotors, add a couple $100 here and there. So you really do have to put all these numbers in perspective, because anyone can buy a $100,000+ vehicle. It's really not about that. It's about servicing the vehicle and keeping it on the road. And that's one thing that I have to actually put back into the category. It becomes a dislike because you're getting a vehicle for such a good deal, and yet you gotta pay such a high premium. And then the fact of people saying, oh, well, they depreciate a lot. 25% off of $100,000 would make it $75,000. Thank you for watching today's review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click the next video, the subscribe button. Check out the details merchandise website and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.